When I got to my mom's house, I was already starting to think there might be something wrong with me. Something that had been inside me ever since I was a little girl. Something unidentified and unacknowledged. Something sinister and growing. And Mum asked me how I was, and I told her that I have this cyst on my back that hurts when I touch it, and Mum said, "That's disgusting. That's disgusting. How are you going to find a husband if you keep talking like that? If you talk about your body like that?" And I said, "Mum, I don't need to find a husband. I don't expect to find a husband anyway. I tend to only have sex with drunk guys." And Mum grimaced and told me that if I don't respect myself, I'll never find a good man. And that if I just met a good man, I wouldn't have to humiliate myself. And I said, "No, Mum, you don't understand. I only have sex with drunk guys because when I come, I make this guttural noise with my throat. It feels like it's coming from my stomach, like a kitchen sink when you drain it, or like a dying toad. I've had it ever since I was a teenager, and it's done nothing but escalate in volume and depth. When I lost my virginity, the guys I was with were kind of grossed out, but drunk guys don't seem to notice it because they're drunk, and they're usually already asleep by the time I come, so we all get along." And Mum stood up and pointed at the door and said, "I told you not to talk like that. Get out." And I said, "All right." And as I walked down the steps, I called out and asked if she would prefer it if I just lied to her. And she said, "No, I don't want you to lie to me. I just wish you were different." Anyway, I'm starting to think there might be something wrong with me. Something that started when I was a little girl, when my father died and I didn't cry at his funeral, before I developed the cyst on my back. I didn't mind leaving my mom's house early because I was meeting Scott for coffee, since it was my day off, and the sooner the better, because I wanted to see a movie afterwards. Nothing against Scott, but he tended to talk a lot. He talked a lot after we had sex. Even though he was drunk, I guess he must have sobered up, which was a shame. And although I considered us at the very least acquaintances, I think it is impossible to like everything about a person, especially if they run out of things to say, which at the rate Scott spoke was more than likely. And we met in the mall, and he asked me how I was going, so I told him about the cyst on my back, and how my mum reacted when I told her about the noise I make when I come. And Scott said, "That's disgusting, you should see a doctor." And I wasn't sure if he wanted me to see a doctor because of the cyst, or because of the noise I make when I come. But all I said was, "I don't need to see a doctor." And he said, "Please, do it for me." And I laughed. And I don't think he liked that I laughed. And then Scott got really serious, and he looked down at his chocolate milkshake with a degree of angst, and he said, "Do you ever feel bad about enjoying something? Do you ever feel bad about enjoying something?" For a moment, I knew what he was talking about. Feeling nothing when something good happens. Never really being in the moment. Someone tells you they love you and you aren't in the room. Sure, I understand that. I understand feeling like your default state is the point of origin on a graph, that no matter how far you go in any direction, you'll always end up back at square one. At best, feeling sad or disappointed or angry or hurt, and at worst, feeling nothing. There's a happiness I haven't felt since I was a little girl, and I think it is because of growing up more than anything, and there's nothing wrong with that, but when I do something that used to make me happy and now it doesn't, instead I stay at 0.00 on the graph, sure, I understand how that's upsetting. It works both ways. At my father's funeral I was elsewhere, and that made me feel like maybe there was something wrong with me. Then Scott said, "I feel bad when I spend time with you. I enjoy spending time with you too much." And I said, "Why the fuck do you feel bad about that, you fucking idiot? You should feel good about enjoying something. Why the fuck would you feel bad?" And he said, "No, you don't understand. I have feelings for you. I have affection towards you." And I said, "I like it when people are affectionate towards me. It makes me feel good." And Scott said, "Then do you want to be together?" And I said, "No, not really." And he said, "I can make you happy." And I said, "What if I'm already happy? What if I don't want to be happy? And if you don't like being affectionate towards me, then I think you should stop having those feelings." And that definitely upset him. And he said something about how his emotions were valuable, and I said, "Are you crying?" But he just got up and left, and I thought, damn, I thought he would talk more. Now I have an hour to kill before the movie starts. There was only one other person in the movie theater, a fat woman who sat up the back eating popcorn. I smiled at her when I walked in. The trailer started to play, and occasionally I would hear her high-pitched laughter from behind me whenever something ridiculous happened on screen. I started laughing too. Then we started yelling things out. "That looks like shit." I love musicals. By the time the movie started, we both got out of our seats and met in the middle. She said, "So, we're the only ones here." I said, "Looks like it." She said, "I hope the movie's good. Do you like Tom Hanks?" I said, I really like Tom Hanks. I'm not sure if she understood the joke I made, but I didn't feel the need to explain it to her, nor did I feel the need to tell her about the cyst on my back or the noise I make when I come. And she either understood that I knew a lot about Tom Hanks' body of work, or she just thought I really liked Tom Hanks. And those were both just fine with me. We watched the movie and riffed on it, yelling at the screen, "Watch out, Tom Hanks!" and "Don't you hurt Tom Hanks, you bastards!" When the movie ended, she left because she had to pick up her kids from school. I wondered if I would ever see her again. I didn't know what to do with my afternoon, so I went to the beach. I didn't really intend to swim or sunbathe or any of that shit. I just wanted to go there and be alone, which I hoped I would be able to. It had been a long day of talking to people, and Scott had stressed me out, and Mum hadn't been very easy to be around, and sometimes I wished people would just leave me alone. And when I got to the beach, a storm was rolling in, and I could see people in the distance walking up the sand dunes, and as in the distance, rain began to fall, and the sky became grey, and I could only see a few dozen meters in front of me because of the mist from the water. I thought to myself, finally, good, I am alone. I walked out onto the pier and held my arms around my chest as the wind beat my shirt, and I was thinking about what Scott said about wanting to be together, and I wondered what that would even mean, being together. The last time I remember being together with someone outside of fucking drunk guys with whiskey dick was at my father's funeral when my little sister held my hand so hard she cut into the skin beneath my nail, she cut into my skin with her nails. I didn't know she was strong enough to do that, but that day she was. She held on so hard I thought she'd never let go. Then the rain reached me. There was a build-up behind my eyes and I wanted to cry, but I couldn't cry. I wanted to cry, and I wished that I wanted to cry because my mother didn't understand me, and I wished that I wanted to cry because Scott thought he knew me, but the truth is, I wanted to cry because I would never see the fat woman in the movie theater ever again, and spending time with her without expectation to fuck someone or know someone, and meeting her like that was the best it would ever be. It was the best it would ever be. If I got to know her, I would find something I didn't like, or I would find something I couldn't relate to, and maybe all we had in common was Tom Hanks. And maybe that was enough, but only for the moment, only in that room, and at least I wasn't elsewhere for that. I was sure of this, and I was sure she would find the same of me. And I wanted to cry so much as the rain soaked me through, so I decided to just pretend to cry, and maybe the tears would come. So I scrunched up my face and turned my mouth down and started breathing really hard and making little wailing noises like people do when they cry. And I watched the rain curtail off my face and into the ocean mist, and thought that if anyone could see me right now, they wouldn't know I was pretending. They wouldn't know the difference. And I thought, fuck, I need to go home. I'm saturated and I can't even calm or cry. What's the fucking difference? And I walked back towards the city, but I slipped on the pier. I slipped and I landed on my back, and there was a sharp pain and a warm wetness that didn't match the rain falling around me. And I made a guttural, gurgling noise with my throat and stomach that sounded like dirty water going down a drain or a dying toad. I was working the next day, and Scott walked in, which bothered me, because I doubted he actually wanted to buy any soap. And he had a real sour look on his face, and I figured he was going through that sulky stage that good men go through when they're rejected, and trying to find a way to salvage their ego. And he saw me smiling and asked me, what the hell was I so happy about? And I said, you're looking at a girl who finally popped her cyst. And he said, that's disgusting. And I said, hey, you fucking asked.